Conducting extraordinary performance appraisals is an essential skill for every manager. The performance appraisal is the single most effective tool a manager can use for performance improvement. Appraisals serve as an opportunity to provide constructive feedback and coaching, as well as a time to give recognition and inspiration. Not only do great appraisals improve employee performance, but they strengthen manager performance as well. After all, managers cannot truly succeed until their employees do. The extraordinary performance appraisal is not born out of a single meeting. Rather, it's a continuous, year-round process. Performance appraisals are only meaningful when they have direct, ongoing influence on an employee's behavior and performance. And the appraisal won't have any influence if it's something that you only think about just one day out of the year. Every great appraisal is created in 3 phases: preparation, writing and presenting the appraisal, and follow-through. These phases are fluid and implemented simultaneously and continuously.
I've been a manager for a while now and I love it, but to put it bluntly, I had a rough start, particularly in the area of performance appraisals. I wrote my appraisals the morning of the meeting, kept sporadic records, and relied almost completely on memory. As a result, my appraisals were not very effective, and in fact, they discouraged rather than inspired my employees. Now, I'm very meticulous in my preparation, and the performance of my employees has improved dramatically.
Preparation is the critical first phase, and it revolves around documentation and record keeping. All job-related work records and relevant data should be placed in an employee's file so that they're easily accessible for ongoing coaching and feedback, and to assist in creating an accurate performance appraisal. Of course, the employee's previous performance appraisals should also be in the file. Some examples of relevant documentation include disciplinary warnings, timesheets, attendance records, sales records, efficiency and quality numbers, safety records, customer complaints or commendations, awards, and any other tangible, measurable information that is critical to your organization and to the employee's job. In addition, every manager should maintain a performance log. A performance log is an informal journal of the day-to-day interactions and observations of a manager's employees. This log should contain both negative and positive notes. Some examples would be logging the date and time of a verbal warning, or positive observations, such as, "Joe volunteered to work 4 extra hours to help us reach quota." The vast majority of job performance is not formally documented. It's nearly impossible for a manager to remember all the events during the course of a year. Therefore, this journal provides a valuable resource which makes employee ratings far more accurate than simply recounting events from memory. Although this log is informal in nature, it's vitally important that it is free of bias and emotion, and that it contains only job-related, observable facts. By maintaining a journal and keeping thorough, consistent records, managers will have a balanced view of the entire evaluation period.
Always make sure that you keep thorough, consistent records. For instance, I just completed a performance review form for an employee who has been late a lot recently. If I would have only considered the last couple weeks, I would have marked him low on dependability. However, I had records from the whole year in his file, and it reminded me that he was commended for staying late and working extra hours last fall when we had an inventory crunch. While his tardiness is still an issue, his work last fall balances things out.
The appraisal process should be a two-way street. For employees to get the most out of their performance reviews, they should feel invested in them. However, if reviews are one-sided and consist of just manager feedback, then it'll be difficult to get employee buy-in. Ultimately, the goal of any appraisal is performance improvement, and this will be difficult if employees don't feel like they're part of the process. The solution to this, and the final step of the preparation phase, is to give employees a blank appraisal form about 4 weeks before the meeting, and allow them to rate and comment on their own performance. The form should contain the same job-related criteria that will be evaluated by their manager, and should have plenty of room for employee comments and goal setting. The insight gained from learning things from an employee's perspective is invaluable. In many cases, employees rate themselves more critically than their manager would have, and suggest creative solutions not considered by their manager.
I remember receiving a self-evaluation from one of my employees. She ranked herself pretty low on client relations, even though her customer feedback ratings were really high. Also, it seemed as though she felt pretty strongly that her knowledge about our new software was solid, even though she was still making quite a few mistakes using it.
This act of self-reflection not only prepares appraisees for the topics that will be discussed in the meeting, but it gives them a chance to present their side of the story. Some people might be cynical about this process, believing that employees will give themselves inflated scores, and certainly there are some employees who have very high opinions of themselves. However, when asked honestly to rate their accomplishments, a large percentage of employees rate themselves lower than their supervisors do. Whenever there's a discrepancy between the manager's rating and that of an employee, it should be looked upon as a good thing. It's an opportunity for discussion. Perhaps there's confusion about expectations or about the perception of how the job should be done. Either way, discrepancies reveal a great coaching opportunity that could lead to performance improvement.
Because of that self-evaluation, I was later able to schedule extra software training and give her positive feedback on client relations. She left the meeting realizing that she needed to improve her competence in the new software, but also very proud and motivated about her high scores in client relations.
With proper preparation, the appraisal form will practically fill itself out. However, there are several very important guidelines to remember.
Analyze the appraisal form to ensure you're rating the correct job duties. It's very common for job duties of an employee to change over time. Use the employee file, the employee's self-appraisal, and last year's appraisal to determine if the job duties should be added to or subtracted from the appraisal form.
Stay positive and treat every employee uniquely. The performance appraisal process is the single greatest opportunity of the year to positively inspire performance improvement. Recognizing each employee's unique strengths and successes on the appraisal form not only is a powerful motivation tool, but it will also relax the employee and make areas needing improvement much easier to discuss.
Substantiate your rating with a thorough explanation backed up by job-related documentation, data, and notes. Be sure to attach all relevant data, documentation, and notes used to rate performance. In addition, every rating on a performance appraisal form should have a thorough explanation free of emotional or subjective comments. The most effective performance appraisals are honest ones based on job-related facts.
Always be honest. Avoid some of the most common errors that lead to dishonest appraisals, inflating ratings to avoid conflict or out of fear of disappointing employees, allowing personal feelings to get in the way of an honest review, and allowing biases or stereotypes to affect an appraisal. When the focus is on facts, appraisals are more accurate and effective. The ultimate goal of an appraisal is performance improvement. When the appraisals are not honest, employees either feel a false sense of accomplishment or feel wronged and demotivated. Either way, performance improvement will suffer.
Set goals and define steps to improve performance. By using your own notes as well as your employees, chart out some goals for the upcoming year. Goals based on past performance are a great way to correct performance issues and serve as a launching pad to strategize about the employee's career goals.
The appraisal meeting can be a source of great stress for both employees and managers alike. However, this tension can be minimized by taking a few simple yet important steps. Make sure to block off enough time to have a relaxed conversation. The process can be stressful enough without feeling rushed. Schedule at least 1 hour to carefully go over every item point by point. Never schedule an appraisal in an office that doesn't have a door or that gets lots of traffic or interruptions. Appraisals should be conducted in a private location where the door can be closed to ensure privacy. It should go without saying that public areas like a break room or cafeteria are completely off limits. Employees deserve their manager's undivided attention. Never answer emails or take phone calls during the meeting. Managers who avoid distractions show they're interested in the process and the employee. Even the best employees will be a little bit nervous about their annual review. The best results will be realized by putting them at ease with a calming environment.
Come on in. Let's sit here at this table. It's less formal than my desk.
Can I get you a cup of coffee or water? By the way, thanks for that appraisal. It looks great.
Once the employee feels comfortable, it's time to get down to business. But resist the urge to cover performance problems immediately. It may cause the employee to become defensive and closed off to suggestions for improvement. It's a much better strategy to start with positive comments about the employee's performance.
It's been a great year overall. I like where your numbers are going.
You've made great strides in learning new skills over the past year, specifically in your willingness to learn the new automated system and to help some of your coworkers figure it out.
When going over the form, be sure to cite concrete examples, whether providing positive or negative feedback. Talk about specific incidents or show documents that back up observations. Don't monopolize the conversation. This is a great opportunity to get feedback from employees, not just on how they think they're doing on the job, but what they've observed on the floor, their overall thoughts about the organization, and yes, even what they want from their manager. Be open-minded to their suggestions. While conducting the review, it is vital to focus on objective facts.
You look a little perturbed about your quality rating. Is there anything that you want to discuss about that? I mean, you've been awfully sloppy about doing inspections.
This supervisor made a common mistake and slid off course and stopped talking about the employee's behavior. The discussion turned into a criticism of the employee personally. Avoid emotionally charged, judgmental words like lazy or slow, and only focus on the objective job-related facts of the employee's performance. It's also important to keep the review focused on the employee's behavior and no one else's. Facing criticism, it's easy for an employee to try to deflect.
Well, I guess I don't understand the low rating on quality issues. I do my best to do inspections as often as I can. I do better inspections than Sal. He never fills out his inspection report.
If the employee begins to compare themselves to a coworker, provide a reminder that the review is about individual behavior and that ratings are based on objective company criteria. If there are performance issues that need to be addressed, don't just provide suggestions as to how to correct them. Enlist employees for suggestions on ways to improve as well. The earlier self-evaluation may have already even provoked thought on such issues.
Let's see if we can't come up with a solution to resolve these quality issues. What do you think you could do?
Employees who actively participate in their own performance improvement plan are far more engaged in the process and are much more likely to remain accountable and recognize improvement goals. Additionally, employees often provide valuable suggestions and insights that make a manager's job much easier.
Well, I could set up a regular routine where I do inspections hourly. At the top of the hour, I could stop and do them and not let anything interrupt or distract me.
By enlisting the employee in the process, managers may just find solutions that they hadn't even thought of themselves.
I really could use some customer service training. I understand the basics, but I really think training would take me to the next level.
The final portion of the performance appraisal meeting should be reserved to talk about goals. It's crucial that employees actively participate in goal setting.
Well, I took into account the goals you set for yourself and combined them with my own ideas to set some goals for next year. I would like to have your input on how we can reach these goals together. Tell me what you enjoyed most about your job this year.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are your ultimate career goals? How can I help you get there?
These managers have engaged their employees in the goal-setting process. Employees who are part of the process will be more inspired and accountable, and therefore more likely to reach performance goals.
Well, I really enjoyed working with the new system. I'd like to be on the team to help implement it into other departments.
Ultimately, I'd like to be on the sales task force. I think I can be a great salesperson.
Excellent. By talking about goals, participants will leave the review session charged up and thinking about the future. Even goal setting for areas that need improvement should be done in a positive manner. The extraordinary performance appraisal is never done. It's a continuous, year-round process. So when the appraisal meeting's over, the real work begins, as the process of preparing for next year's performance appraisal is set in motion. Write up the goals and objectives and performance improvement plans that were discussed in the meeting. A copy should be given to the employee so that both the manager and the employee can refer to the plan at regular intervals and track performance en route to achieving the goals. To ensure that the performance review results in performance improvement, it's essential that managers provide ongoing feedback and reward good work. This can be accomplished through formal and informal meetings and regular day-to-day communication. Be prepared to make changes to goals or plans if needed. The process is not only continuous, but fluid. The performance appraisal process doesn't need to be a source of anxiety and dread. By following simple steps, it can be used as a powerful tool to improve the performance of every employee in an organization. It takes diligent, consistent effort, but the payoff is enormous. By following these steps, the appraisal process becomes a continuous one that is genuinely tied to the employee's growth and the company's future, and something that both the supervisor and employee can look forward to without anxiety.